All right, so I thought we'd take just a few minutes here to learn how to navigate Basecamp and the Google Drive folder. I don't think these are required tools necessarily for us to do this project, but I think it'll really help organize a lot of our information, our data, consolidate a lot of our resources, so that we can, be very efficient with how we do this work. And so really for these to be a success, it requires that all of us use it rather than just one person trying to really run it. It's as useful as we make it. So Basecamp is considered a project management tool. It's been around for a few years now and has evolved quite a bit. And basically allows for, getting some feedback there. It allows for people to organize their to-dos, their schedules, and message each other, and basically organize projects. And so that's basically the overall kind of purpose of Basecamp. The nice thing is here, if you go when you're on the Basecamp main page, when you click on Add/Remove People, you can see all the list of people that currently have access to and are in our Basecamp. So you can see them all in there. If you have a graduate student or someone who's working on the Create Myrtle Bark Scale on this project and you'd like to include them in there, just let me know, just so that we have, we can keep good track of who's kind of has access to all of this stuff, this information here. So that's kind of a nice way to look at everyone who's on the team. Then when we go to to-dos, here's a nice list of essentially all of our project objectives. And I've already created these in here so that you can navigate and copy-paste it from the proposal, all the elements of these projects and what is their purpose, and as well on the bottom, tagged who is responsible for them. And so how these can be used, pardon me, as an example, is if we go to the chemical efficacy trials, again, we can see all the information here, and we can see who is all responsible, and we can create to-dos. So perhaps one of the things we need to do is create a list of chemical products we want to test for 2018, and assign myself, Mike Merchant, and Yan Chen. And here we can tell to notify those people about this assignment when it's created. We can add a schedule. So perhaps here we'll say it's due by the end of January of 2018. And we can add extra details here. So whether we want to add files, comments, or whatever it might be. So we add that to do. Now it's here, and we can easily check it off when we finish that, and that'll be a nice completed task. And all these three people will be notified by email, and also be a notification in their Basecamp that a new task has been assigned to them. Additionally, just in general, for if we want to add just some general information related to this Objective 2.2, we can just down here add a comment or a file. So here as well, I can say, wrapping up CMBS PodEd trials from 2017. We'll post results here soon. And you can, in these comments, so, all right, where are you guys on your trials from this year? And I can actually tag by doing the @ symbol. So here I've used the @ symbol, and I'm typing in Mike Merchant. His name pops up, and I also want to ask Yin how her trial has been going, and I can add this comment right here. And now we're starting a little message thread where we can now discuss kind of how that trial is going from 2017 to know kind of where to continue from there. If you're getting tired of notifications, or you feel like they're not relevant, or you, for whatever reason, just don't want to use Basecamp anymore, you can say stop notifying me about this, and that'll make it so that you'll not get notifications, at least related to this objective. And there's a way of removing all notifications as well, if you like, and I'll have to see where that option is. I haven't looked at that yet. All right, so that's basically the to-do lists in a nutshell. So now if we go back to our to-dos, we can see here, again, all the to-dos listed, and it lists that task, that specific to-do under there. So we can quickly get a good glance. Now let's go back to the project home page. This schedule here, yes. Sure. Correct. That's right. So Correct. And so you are tagged in whatever objectives you would have been tagged in the or mentioned in the proposal. So I don't think you are in all of them. If you wanted to be notified, so for example, oh yeah, so you are in this one. You're probably in a lot of the objectives. And if you wanted to, you could remove yourself from that objective. So you go into the objective, you can go here and no, here it is, the edit button. So if you wanted to edit and just remove yourself from that objective, you could do that and then hit Save Changes, and that way you're not, going to be notified about every little communication, unless you want to know about every little communication, in which case then keep your name on there essentially. Yeah. All right. So schedule basically. So you saw on that to-do list we created a task that's due at the end of January 2018, and basically it'll show up all those tasks on this calendar. So right here we can see what objective is due or what to do is due, and all of the things that are essentially on that to-do list that you are tagged in or that you are in any way responsible will be on this calendar. There is a way, I believe. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure there's a way of seeing all of the things that are on the schedule, whether it includes yourself or not. And so someone like Mung Mung, you might be interested in looking at that. And I'll have to see how one can do that again. I can't. I think it's, let's see, my schedule. It may have been, actually, yeah, so if I'm not mistaken, actually this schedule will show everything on all the to-do lists. If you click on this home right here and you go My Schedule, it'll only show the things that are on your personal schedule. So anything that you have been actually tagged in. So this would be a little bit more relevant if you're only interested in things that pertain to you. And you can also subscribe to this. And you can include it in your iCal or in your Outlook calendar, so it directly goes into there automatically as well. Now going on to the message board. So here is just for posting general messages. So as an example here, let's see. So I think actually there was already an announcement made. Steve had posted this picture, and it'll date stamp it. So on October 4th, he was saying mostly crepe myrtle bark scale eggs. And we can do that same thing. So if you just want to post a general message to everyone, so instead of sending, say, an email, you want to start some kind of a general message thread. So, I might say natural enemies. Anyone seeing any natural enemies out there? And I might tag, say, Kevin and Kyle, and then I can post that message, and it'll send it, and it'll especially notify those two as well that they're tagged in this message. And I can actually make this a question, and it'll basically just give a separate little icon on the side of that message. But this is basically, can be useful or not. I mean, it's very similar to basically sending an email out to everyone. But this just kind of archives it and organizes it in a way that we can all see it. So that's the message board. And lastly, docs and files. So here, we're not really using Basecamp for organizing all of our documents and files because it's not the best for editing or actually working with those documents. And it's really not the best for uploading either. So here's an example. I had started a multimedia folder, and I actually don't want it here anymore because I have it on the Google Drive. And we don't want to really have these duplicate entries. So instead of deleting, if you ever want to remove anything, just hit Archive. And what that does is here, if we go back to our docs and files, you can see there's one archived item. So instead of completely getting rid of it, it's just archived. So if someone wants to see what was archived, they can go ahead and do that. We just have the project proposal in here. So just clicking on that, you can view or download the PDF or make comments. And there's also the Google Drive folder. So clicking here and hit View Google Drive. So that concludes the Basecamp part of kind of navigation and tutorial. Are there any questions there before we continue? That's what I would suggest, and especially because if you post that message on Basecamp, it'll still send it to your email, so you're still getting it there as well. But it'll nicely organize all of our messages and emails in a single place, related to Create Bark Scale, in a single place that we can go back to and refer to. So yeah, for that reason, I think it'd be beneficial for us to use it for that purpose. Correct. So as an example, I just added a comment here. It's almost like sending an email response back to Steve. And I can have attachments or anything like that in there. He's going to get a notification. I go back to the message board. You'll notice here just that single thread is still there, and it said that there's one response to that thread. And we can go all messages, or we can look at only announcements for your informations, heartbeats, pitches, or questions. So you can kind of separate out the different types of categories and quickly see them there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. Yeah, so if you have graduate students that you're hiring on, absolutely. Yeah, they can be added on. Yeah, I don't think so. Unfortunately, with this system, I don't think that we can give people different rights or different access. It's basically they're all in or all out. So if we have collaborators, I mean, I don't know. We just have to really consider, how much they'd really need or would use this tool in particular in order to include them or not. That'd just be something to think about there. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions? Let me just see here. If I want to edit Gary here. Yeah, I don't know that you can, and I can double check with Joe LaForest and see if you can limit access for certain individuals. So if you wanted to have collaborators that can maybe only view, for example, and not make changes. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So now going on to Google Drive. So I highly recommend that if you use Google Drive, that you also download the desktop application, which if you have a personal Google account, it is just called Google Drive. And now if you have like a university or a business account, they call it Google File Stream. And the real nice thing about Google File Stream is that when you download it and use it, it basically creates like this, almost like a folder on your computer that actually doesn't take up any space on your computer. So here you can see when I open this up, in terms of details, it says I have about 18 terabytes available. My personal computer does not have 18 terabytes. That's how much is available on the cloud Google Drive. So it's basically all on the cloud. And when I go into here, I can navigate the files, and let's see, where do I have Create Bark Scale? Here we go. And I can see all those documents in here. If I wanted to make sure that these are available for when I'm not online, so I'm using a laptop, on a Mac anyway, on a PC should be similar, you can make it available offline. So it'll have it downloaded onto your local computer, and anytime you make any changes, it'll basically upload those changes onto the cloud so that all of our versions are the same. We don't have multiple versions of the same document. Here I have basically two separate folders, main folders, and we can create more folders as we go on. But if you have any collaborators, graduate students, or anything like that you need to add, here under Share, you can already see who already has access, at least through using a Google account, and then you can actually add those users on there. if they don't have a Google account, you can give them a shareable link. And so with this link, they can only view, but you can make it so that they can also edit. So anyone with that link can edit. Be careful where you post that type of link, and make sure it's, highly encourage people to use their Google accounts, because if that link gets out to anyone else, they could just come in here and do whatever. I mean, not that I can't see anyone wanting to come and muck with crepe myrtle bark scale data, but we just the more secure the better. So the two main folders, yeah, that's possible. So we can actually turn this off so there is no link. I can't remember who has access via the link right now, but they would have been cut off. But I mean, that is, I'll keep it off, and then if someone complains, then we'll go from there. How does that sound? All right. All right, so now under the multimedia folder, we have photos, posters, and presentations. I've already uploaded a couple of my presentations here as PowerPoint. Posters as well, Mike Merchant's and my own posters from ESA and the Canuga conference. I highly encourage, if you're uploading files, give it a descriptive name, the year, the author, and perhaps where you presented it. And also, we have a number of photos in here as well. And I just encourage, I think if you're using photos and things like that, it always helps to give credits. I don't think I actually put my name associated with these. Maybe I'll have to rename these to just have my name in there. But if you're doing a poster or presentation, obviously just contact that author and make sure they're okay with you presenting it. And I think that's the purpose for uploading it here, so that we can share. We got everyone's hands up here. Do you guys all have questions? Yeah. Well, so I think it's just a lot easier to navigate and a lot easier to quickly upload files into Google Drive. The alternate is, putting it to Basecamp. The nice thing is you can make comments and have a conversation related to a document, and post related documents in almost like a comment thread. So that's the one thing, good thing about Basecamp, but Basecamp doesn't have any type of editing tools. So if this is a Word document, I would not be able to actually edit it within Basecamp. I'd have to download it, edit it, and then re-upload a new version. Whereas in Google Drive, we can all collaboratively work on a document together. And so for that reason, for I think just very few files, stagnant files, Basecamp might be okay. Like I have this whole grant proposals folder here. So if they're PDFs, I think we can put in there. But I'd encourage everyone else to use Google Drive for anything else. Were there any other questions? Yen, you have your hand up. Is that by accident or? And Mung Mung, you have your hand up too. I don't know if that's intentional or not. Mm-hmm. You mean just like like a general statement? Like I think in general, any documents we're working on, whether it be data files, Word files, or sharing of photos, posters, and presentations, let's say Google Drive, and then Basecamp would be anything related to organizing our efforts, or our meetings, our tasks, our to-do lists, things that maybe would be a lot smaller and a lot more dynamic than, say, like a file or a document would be working on together. Yeah, it's more for really organizing the team and just organizing our efforts, whereas Google Drive is more for storing our documents, storing our data files, and also working on those files together. So it's more for the actual documents and multimedia storage versus this, which is like organizing us, organizing our communications, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Oh. There's one person. Yes. Um, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Yen, if you have a Gmail account, if you could please send me your Gmail, that would be mucho helpful. Thank you. And then I'll be able to invite you back in. All right. So we also have within project data, you'll see I've created a folder for each separate objective. Again, you can create some additional folders as you see fit. Just give them, appropriate names. But I'm going to give an example within here, Objective 2.2, the chemical efficacy. Make sure within folder and file names never to use periods, because if you're using the desktop version and you're using a PC, PCs don't like periods in their file names, because that usually means it's the extension or what type of program it's going to use to launch that. So if this is, obj 2.2 chem efficacy, your PC would be looking for 0.2 chem efficacy program to launch this document. So we don't want to do that. Now within here, I've separated out my the years of data. So let's just say, as an example, 2017, I've also created a folder specific to myself because we're all going to have our own data, so we don't want to mix it all into one folder. It'd just be very confusing. So here is an example. Here's a bunch of the data, and let me very quickly, for demonstration purposes, remove those. So you'll notice here I've uploaded Excel documents, PDF, Word documents, and PowerPoint documents. Google Drive cannot intuitively edit Word documents. Now, if I open it on Google File Stream, so I go back to Project Data here. Now this is on the desktop client using my actual computer. I can use that to actually open up Word documents. So here's the Word document. And it's going to download it in there. And then I can actually edit the Word document and save it back, and it'll go back into Google Drive. Now, if you're not using Google File Stream or you're not using the desktop client, the only way to edit this is you go to Open With in Google Docs. And when you do that, you'll notice it actually opens it up as a separate type of file. So if I actually go back to the folder here, you'll notice this file right here is actually a duplication, except this is a Word document and this is a Google Drive document. And I can actually now edit this Google Drive document. Another thing to note, so if you do this and you create this duplication, especially if you're working with others on these documents, we want to avoid the potential risk of creating duplicate files that we're making different progress on. So in order to prevent that, I'm going to now delete my old Word document. So after I've created the duplication, I'm going to delete that old Word document. Back in the Google Drive folder, you'll see here in the top right, it says editing. And basically that means that anytime I type, I'm directly editing. However, if I switch this, and this is what I recommend if you are working on a collaborative document with someone else, that you make it as suggestions. And now, whenever I type, it still puts it in there, but it's almost like the Word track changes. And you can either accept or reject that suggestion, and you can make comments to suggestions. And in using this suggestion mode, you can also make comments on general areas. So this is a way of collaborating on a document together, and when you have it as a Google Drive doc, multiple people can be working on it at the same time. And you'll actually be able to see the changes they're making live in front of you, so you can actually be working on it and seeing what everyone's doing at the same time. Now, the only disadvantage is you can't do that in Excel file. So again, I can't actually edit the Excel file. I can open it up in Google Sheets, and then that's going to create a separate file for me. So you can see here, go back. You'll see here now, so this was the original Excel file. It has the X. This one here that has this image here is actually the Google Sheets document that I can open directly. So again, to avoid that duplication, I can hit remove. And I go now into this file. And it works just like Excel, except similar to Excel, actually, there is no option to do suggestion mode. So just be careful, the changes you're making here, someone else won't be able to see the suggestions you've made. Rather, the changes will just kind of be made. The nice thing now as well about Google Docs is when you click a specific document and you hit this I in the top right, it says View Details. Under Activity, I can see all the things that have been done to that document as well. So you can see if someone else has made any changes or made any edits to a particular document. And you can also see all the people that have access to that document. And I think that is, let's see, yeah, I think that's all I had for Google Drive. Were there any questions? Yeah. It's gonna, so if you're editing a Google Drive document, it's gonna save it as a Google Drive document. Yes, you can actually even, let's see. So if I open up a document, here we go. I go to File, and I can go to Download as Microsoft Word. So I can open it up as a Microsoft Word document. Yep. And I can see here that Laura, so this is what it looks like when two people are on the same document. I can see Laura is right here. That's where her cursor is currently sitting. And I can actually see her image right up here. And by clicking that image and clicking that little thing there, I can say, hey, working on the document. And so we can actually be chatting as we're working on the document together here as well. Any other questions? Mung Mung, you have your hand up? Okay. Yvette, you have a question? Or is your hand up just by accident there as well? Yen, you have a question? It might. So it might have been just because. So I just shared the. So I just got your Gmail account there, and I just shared the folder with you. And then, and now what I'd recommend. So when a folder is first shared with you, oftentimes it'll go into this folder in your Google Drive web browser that says "Shared with Me," and you want to click on that. And if it's a particular file or folder that you haven't put into your own Google Drive yet, you need to typically right-click it, and I think these are all already in my own folder. Oh no, here we go. It says add to my drive. And when you hit that, then it'll go onto your drive. So if you have a personal Google account and you're concerned about the space filling up very quickly, instead of adding it to your own Google Drive, you can just keep it in your shared with me, and that way it's not actually taking up space on your own personal Google Drive. Correct. That's right. It should, yes. Yeah, that may very well be it. Any other questions there? All right. Then I think that's it.